at first, and I was a victim to all the filters and all the weird things that we can put on our faces, and it almost shows insecurity sometimes. It was really bad in the beginning because you just want to make everything perfect. So just get out of your own way, start with your brand, your colors and fonts, and then move into what is my message to market match? What do I want people to know when they're watching me? And what do they think of immediately when they think of Tina Caul? That's the brand.
Tina, you are a superpower marketer. When did you realize in your business that you could use marketing as a superpower?
Oh my gosh, Wendy, it's so funny when you say that. That doesn't correlate with me. Like, oh, I'm a superpower marketer.
You are.
6 years ago, before I joined eXp, you would have not said that. I think what I realized was if I'm going to promote a brand, if I'm going to reach people, that I had to get over myself and I had to get on camera. And so I was the weirdo that like literally would, take a picture of my food and post it on Facebook. Had no pictures on my card, no billboards, no marketing until I joined this company and realized I have to get louder. And I could reach more people through social media and marketing.
Oh, that's amazing. So how does that start? Like that realization is step one, right? Yeah. But then like, how did you start to wade into those waters? Do you remember like what you did first or like what advice you would give to people now that might be hearing you say that and say like, oh gosh, that's exactly where I'm at?
Yeah. Well, if I rewind 15 years ago when I first moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, it was just me and my husband, and I hired my first assistant. And I do remember at that time, I was like, ooh, I'm with Remax. And I don't like the red, white, and blue. It's totally not me. I'm more of a luxury, black and white, the golds. And I changed my brand at that time. And Remax got mad at me because I was always like bucking the system. And so our brand was always the CG logo, which looks like Chanel. And so we realized that our brand looked elevated then. And we started to get feedback from some clientele that said, well, will you list my property? It's only $500,000. And I'm like, yes, of course we will. So we knew that we had a luxury look going into our branding and marketing. But when I joined eXp, what I realized is that I could be one to many if I just showed people what it was like to work with us before they actually worked with us, before they signed on. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you've done an expert job across the social media channels of showing people what it would be like to work with you before they actually do. What's working like right now for you? Like which platform are you sort of all in on? Like tell us a little bit about like kind of where you're at today.
So I went all in on Instagram and YouTube. So the first thing was I'm going to give everything away for free. I'm going to teach agents and give them a lot of value. So part of our brand was me being a teacher and a coach. And I didn't ask for anything in return. I just wanted agents to consume the content and have a parasocial relationship with me. And that started to work. My husband and I and my son would be at the airport and people would be like, hey, I watch your YouTube. And I'm like, oh my God, this is working. And my husband's like, great, her head's getting even bigger. I'm like, I don't take it seriously, but it is fun to see that happening.
Yeah.
So I would say for agents, they try to get on video and they try to do their brand and they overthink it. And what I would say is you're in your natural environment every single day doing your belly-to-belly sales, talking to customers on the phone. Just make sure a camera is in place to capture that content.
And I was going to bring that up because you do that so well, right? Yeah. Like I see those videos all the time and that's just a camera and you doing your job, right?
Correct. Talking on podcasts or in meetings with clients. Yeah.
And that's what I always say to agents is like content is abundant. Just tell your story, right? Yes. Like every day, all the things you're doing, just share it with us.
Yeah. And it was hard in the beginning, when you talk about marketing or your brand, you want it to match what the person is on camera and what they meet in person. And so I think sometimes you meet someone in person, you're like, wow, they're a completely different person on and off camera. And I'm goofy and I'm silly and I joke a lot, but I get stuff done. I'm an action taker. And so I think also that came across because if you watch my first videos, they were very like robotic. And I was actually found one of my first videos and showed it to my team and they were like, wow, you sucked. I'm like,
That's what we do. Yeah, we have to do that.
That's right.
So what comes first, brand or content?
I think for me, brand came first. So my brand was more of a luxury looking brand. Black and white is our thing. It was on everything. So that came first, and then the content came after. So for me, it's brand and social media. Getting out there with a message to the market was important. And I think sometimes agents feel, well, I can't put my brand out there if it's not focused towards just sellers and buyers. And I think that's not true, because I actually had sellers when I first started coaching and training say, wow, you actually coach the agents. And I've met agents, and unfortunately, some of them are not as great as they should in their business. And if you're coaching agents, you must be a great agent. So I would like you to list our property. Right. So it elevated my brand to actually show that I was coaching and training agents. And I think sometimes agents are afraid of that, to show other multifaceted passions that they have.
Right.
And they're like, I just have to be sellers and buyers all day long. And that's not true.
So coach me, if I'm an agent that hasn't figured out my brand yet, but I want to start like getting into content on social media, like what should I do?
Well, first, I think the most basic is start with a mood board. What are your colors?
Okay.
When you show up, what's the logo that you're going to present? Model that with your company, because I think that's important. We've always had eXp be a shining star right next to Caul Group, powered by eXp. So I think rep your brand, know how you look on and off camera. How do you present? You've got guys that wear their t-shirt and their hat, and that's just their brand, and they're very authentic on and off camera. I'm the same. I can be pretty casual or in a suit, but I think that's the first thing, is to start with the branding, and then it's get really comfortable on camera. I can't tell you how uncomfortable I was. I never spoke. I never spoke on stages. I didn't want to be on a panel. I said no for the first 8 years of my career, and I thought I can't do this well if I don't get comfortable with that piece of.
So you got to get uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable, and then just do it over and over, and then stop obsessing about how you look. Most people won't do it because they're like, I see a wrinkle there. I'm like, well, we see it in person, so you're not really hiding by not coming on.
I say that all the time. You're going to show up like looking like you, like this.
Like, I see you. And I would also say be authentically you. We at first, and I was, a victim to all the filters and all the weird things that we can put on our faces, and it almost shows insecurity sometimes. I still use a little filter here and there, but I'm saying it was really bad in the beginning because you just want to make everything perfect. So just get out of your own way, start with your brand, your colors and fonts, and then move into what is my message to market match? What do I want people to know when they're watching me? And what do they think of immediately when they think of Tina Caul? That's the brand. It's your ethos. It's your presence. It's what you teach. It's not really your logo. And so I think your brand is how you authentically show up in on and off camera.
Yeah. So you talked about showing up, getting uncomfortable, which sort of goes into how important consistency is in getting content out there. So how have you worked it into your busy schedule to be a content creator? Because you really are a content creator. And then how should we be thinking about that?
So I treated it like part of my job. I think the first thing was truly, you are in your environment doing your thing every single day. If I had a camera out more often, I would have content for days. And I think agents overthink it. They're like, well, I have to read a script. No, you don't. Your script is what you say every day. So think of it as reality TV, but where are you going to hire the leverage, a videographer that's going to come in and either video you in your environment? I wish I would have done that sooner. Or you yourself have an extra phone, because if you're on your own phone and talking to clients or on Zoom, you have a phone out and you are constantly taking those videos, sending them to a VA. My VA is, $8 an hour in Mexico, and she does an amazing job. And I just send her all the content in a Google file, and she just edits, and she sends me back.
So she clips, edits, does all of that.
Puts them on. Every day I have a YouTube short going out. So I actually took videos and interviews that I've done 5 years ago, and she'll edit those up. So there's content for days. It's just remembering to capture. And I think that's where people overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. How do you inspire those on your team to do what you're doing? Because it's easier to control your own actions than it is to like convince other people, and in our case, other agents to follow in those footsteps. Yeah. And you've done a great job with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's modeling. It's cheering them on. It's just showing them that, you can make a mistake in a video and I'll be like, well, first day with my new lips, just keep going. It's just being silly. And if they see that I'm comfortable messing up, that it doesn't need to be perfect, then they'll do it. So I think it's modeling the behavior and then getting them on camera with you. If it's a partner or an agent on our team, we just tell them this is something that is going to, it's free marketing. And if you're not in that realm right now, you're going to get overlooked. You're going to miss the mark. I think it's just the future, and we got to get comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is there an expectation when I join your team that I'll get like online, that I'll be starting to push content out there?
There wasn't before, because I felt that, I was doing enough for the team, and we were getting a lot of inbound leads, or sellers were seeing us. But now, in the last 3 months, we've changed directions, and we're saying to that, we're doing contests. So they're getting prizes for being creative, and we're making them uncomfortable. We brought a person into, what is it called? Like when you're acting, like basically.
Like improv?
Improv, thank you.
Yeah.
So they're acting, they're doing improv, so they're getting comfortable being uncomfortable. They hate it, but they love it. And so you're seeing them now like create more content. Our marketing director's like high-fiving them. They're proud of themselves, but it's just that initial maybe 2-3 months of being uncomfortable. And the biggest thing is remembering to pull the damn camera out. Yes. Like when you're like doing, you're like, oh,
you're like, why didn't I film that? That would have been great.
So it's the habit becoming habitual, where my phone is always now like, oh, I could just film that little bit of B-roll. I can film that conversation. When my sales manager is speaking to an agent, I'll zip into her room and I'll film her. So it's just remembering that you're telling stories every single day.
Yeah.
And if people don't see your life, which they love to watch your life, then you're just going to become irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me 2 marketing tools that you couldn't live without.
Oh, okay. So I spent $12,000.
Okay.
And I went to Ed Milet's brand builder people, and I spent 2 days, and they gave me 42 pages of questions. And I took that and I went through ChatGPT, so can't live without ChatGPT.
Okay.
I took all those questions and made a document where all my team now can download that document and create their brand voice to train ChatGPT.
Awesome.
So then I take my ChatGPT and I can create, a 5-step listing process or whatever in my voice.
Yeah.
And I jump into TypeIt, which is another AI tool, and it creates a PDF freebie, a document. That freebie then gets thrown into Instagram. Hey, for my freebie, go to this Stan Store link.
Right.
And they can download that freebie. So now they're downloading all of this information, the agents.
Yeah.
And then I can do what John Chet Black always says, is market to the list. And so I'm building audience, I'm giving them value, and it's working. And so those tools in that
I love that you gave us the workflow there. Yeah, the sequence. Yeah.
And now I have like 15, 20 freebies that are easily created in TypeIt. You can, it's not that hard.
And they're working for you all the time.
They're working for you. So think of, even Agent Attraction, eXp, we want to grow it. It's an amazing company. So how do we become community builders? Well, we have to build the community. And so building a list is so huge right now. You build that list, you talk to the list, and then when you hit a pain point of an agent where they're like, oh, I need that, they will respond to you and communicate with you. So I think it's really important to build a list, a really big list.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's gold right there. That is just gold. Love that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Are there any new, you gave several different platforms there, anything new that you've adopted recently that you're kind of playing with? You're like, I'm not really sure, but I heard about this.
I'm playing with Gamma right now. So Gamma creates really cool slides. So I'm playing with that and trying to get to know that. So Gamma, Stan Store, TypeIt, ChatGPT, of course. And the cool thing about ChatGPT for team leaders out there, I actually downloaded each of my staff members' disk Working Genius assessment, Strengths Finder assessment, and I put all these people are working together. Where are our pitfalls? Where are our challenges? Where are our strengths? And when I go in and, these two people are maybe having an argument, I'll actually go into ChatGPT and say, hey, so-and-so is having an argument with so-and-so. How do we fix this? And it'll say, based on them. And so as a leader, I can go back to them and say, hey, here's a solution, or here's how this person could have meant this. It's been the best psychological tool ever to help run and manage teams.
Very cool. So we've touched a lot on sort of the creative side of marketing and brand building. How do you think about the analytics of all of the content that you put out there?
Yeah. I'm usually not a numbers person. I'm not going to overanalyze the data, but what I do is I'll go back and see which videos hit the biggest audience. That's what I need to keep doing. So for instance, I went back 3 months ago, the last year, and I saw the videos that hit the most eyeballs were objection handling videos. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to make 3 more videos this week. Made 3 objection handling videos, 90,000 views, 75,000 views. This was in 3 days, And so when you start to see what works, do more of it. And then also don't be afraid to repost the exact same content. I posted 2 weeks ago a video that had 2,000 views. I reposted it last week and it got 22,000 views. The exact same video, same cover.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a moment of what's happening, right? In people's lives, in the market.
Yes. So, I mean, I would repurpose. Actually, now I'm just going back through because I think there's so much pressure to create content.
Yeah.
I need content. And you have a week where you don't do any content and you feel behind. You could literally just go pull your old content and just repurpose it. And people have they're not really paying attention.
Their memory is not that long.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really valuable takeaway is that it's not a one and done. You got to repeat messages over and over again.
Yes. So don't put pressure on yourself to be I have to make this great video. I think, when I look at my videos, this is another thing that's so important, that are raw, unedited. I don't look great on the video. The video is the crappiest. Literally, I have Zoom videos on YouTube that have 200,000 views, and I don't even start with a click down below or here's what we're talking about. It's literally in the moment when I'm training, they do the best. But the fully edited professional videos where everyone looks like a canned presentation, they don't do very well. So I think that's the other thing, the pressure of I need a cameraman, I need this, I need that. You need you, yourself, and your phone, and that's it. And just throw it out there and you'll be shocked at what sticks.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you what advice, but I think that's probably the advice is you need you, a phone, and
the message.
Yourself and the message. And throw it out there.
What's the pain point that you're solving? And that's really, for me, when I do a video, I'm if I just solved a pain point for an agent on my team, I'm I better put that on camera. I better put that on video. So I might just say, I just met with an agent and this is what happened. I just met with a seller, with a buyer, and this is how I solved their problem. So you have to think of, I'm a problem solver. Is this shareable?
Yeah.
Is this going to solve a pain point? And if the answer is yes, the audience will kind of adopt it.
Yeah. And I think you've built this muscle, but something tells me you are inspired by everything that happens throughout your life, throughout your day. And then that sparks inspiration for content. Am I reading that right?
100%.
So how do you track that, right? You're in a conversation, you're I should do a video about that. I should go back and look at how other, videos perform. How do you track that in the run of your day?
I think it's just, so I'm a big nerd on Working Genius and Strengths Finder assessment. So I think some people have a natural propensity to just have ideas all day long. You probably do too. I see you smiling. So when you're natural, I think there is a natural ability for some, and that's why it's so easy for them to get on camera because they have those ideas. If you're not naturally prone to, I have an idea, then you have to be cognizant of the fact that, okay, I just did this, I just solved this problem for a buyer or seller. Let me take a moment and let me just put my thoughts on camera.
Yeah.
And so maybe you won't have all these new ideas, but you have to just monitor your day and just be very mindful of everything that you're doing is a genius. You have been in the industry 10 years, 15 years, 2 years, 3 years. There's always someone's problems that you're solving. That's what we do in this business.
Yes.
So just the remembrance of let me get the camera out and just repeat what I just said.
Yes.
Or let me film what I just said so it sounds very natural and I don't sound like a blubbering fool.
Yeah. And I like that idea of filming it real time.
Yeah.
So I'm on a showing, I get in the car. Before I pull out of the driveway, usually like let the buyers pull out of the driveway.
Yeah.
Right? And open up the camera, do the stuff, and talk to the camera.
Yeah.
Right? Got an idea for a video on what to look for when you're walking through a house. They asked this question. Here's how I answered. This would make a great video.
Exactly.
And instead of just jotting that down in a notebook or on notes, do it on your camera.
Yes.
And then after a while, that will become your video. You'll be a one take.
Exactly. And the other key thing is, which I didn't do before, I would look at myself talking to myself. And then I was analyzing myself. And I was like, I don't like the way this looks. I don't like the background. When I moved my eyes up to the actual lens where you're supposed to look, you weren't looking at yourself anymore. So it actually took the pressure off of your face and your hair and
all of those
yourself,
things.
And it became easier. So
good tip.
Don't look at yourself. Look at, because it actually is better for the watcher. You know, it's like, oh, she's looking at me instead of down or in a weird spot on the camera.
Yeah.
If I were an agent today, like on appointments, I would literally go into a listing appointment and make the seller sign off on, hey, I like to market and promote, and I would video my presentation.
Yeah.
And then edit that to use for training or, you know, whatever else. So
Cool. That's awesome. Well, we could talk marketing all day. We talk marketing a lot back and forth in the run of our days.
Sending her messages because she's such a rock star.
And audio messages. I know when it's an audio message, it's something good, right? I'm like, okay, she didn't even type this. She's talking to me now.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing those. I love getting those. We called the podcast X Factor Marketing.
Yeah.
What do you think your personal X Factor is?
I think, you know, the ability to just be authentic, be weird, be fun. I think we try so hard to be other people, and you'll never be anyone else. Be you. You're amazing, you know, and all the awkwardness, embrace it, you know, just be truthful. So I think for me, like when I meet someone, especially people that work for me, if they don't tell me what they're bad at, if they're not like so humble about what they're bad at, I don't trust people. So I want to know like your weaknesses and your strengths. But I would say, you can build a strength, you can build that muscle, but I think the X factor is just being raw and authentically me.
I think it is too. Thank you so much for sharing your X Factor with us.
You're welcome, Wendy. Thank you.